What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. And I just decided to come out with this kind of fun, interesting topic to talk about. And that's mostly just talking about fandoms and hobbies and just how I've seen things change over the years. Just because I remember when so many of the hobbies that I have were so maybe not even niche, but yes, I guess niche is the right word to use in this within these parameters, but also when they were like things that got you picked on, or they were things that you didn't really talk about, unless you were sure the other person was like into it, right? So the fandoms or the hobbies that I'm into are like anime, manga, fan fiction, K-pop, gaming, even though I don't do a lot of it, still, gaming in essence. And then of course you have like little, like, obviously fandoms within those particular hobbies, right? And just seeing how things have changed over the years. Like with anime, I remember when, you got picked on for anime, but not even just like in a like society sense, but also just in the sense of how readily available things were, right? I remember watching anime, having to watch anime on YouTube because the streaming just was not a big thing back then, right? I remember having to buy anime movies on VHS tapes, which they don't even make anymore, but I do remember like having to do that, or taking years for a dub to come out. But then now it's being like dubs are done like within the first 24 to 48 hours that a new episode is released, right? Streaming has now became just the norm, where you can just hop on Netflix or Crunchyroll, or you can hop on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, or you can just hop on any other like streaming service you can think of, and you are able to watch anime. Like I remember when it was just so hard to do, and not even just that, but just having to explain to people what anime actually was, or explain to them that these shows are not for children. Like, yes, there's some that are for kids, but not all of it is for children. I remember the looks my parents used to give me when they would see me watching anime, especially my dad, and would be like, why are you watching these cartoons? Like, you're too old to be watching these. And I'm just like, this isn't what you think it is, right? It's not like a regular like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel cartoon. And even if I was watching it, there's not a problem with that. But I would have to be like, these have more like adult themes, or they have more, grittier themes or stuff like that, comparatively to like shows like SpongeBob, right? Or other shows that you would think are like, for children. And obviously many of us know that anime is a genre, but there's subgenres within anime for many of the shows that we watch, right? So it's interesting to see that, because now I feel like I don't have to go out my way to explain anime to somebody. And generally speaking, I come across more people that watch anime now than I used to ever before. Like, only time I would come across someone who watched anime was if I was either at a convention, or I was around individuals who started themselves talking about anime. And then it was very far and few between. And I didn't outwardly voice all the time that I watched anime because of the fact that I knew it was so niche and how people kind of felt about it. And that's the same thing also when you look at things like fan fiction, right? I've been reading fan fiction since like 2008. I started reading fan fiction with Inuyasha fan fiction going into college, because the anime stopped at a certain point. Final act had not yet been announced or released, I think, at that point, and the manga was still ongoing, or had just ended, right? So I decided, or found fan fiction online and started reading it, and it was something that I couldn't explain to people, because people would always ask me like, what are you reading? And I would just say, oh, I'm just reading a book, like it's just online. But since most of the people around me in my life, family, friends, many of them didn't read fan fiction, I just didn't know how to explain. So I always just said, well, I'm just reading a book. And I would have to like, whenever I explain to somebody, I'm like, it's like they take the characters of the books and stories and they put them in different scenarios that these writers make up, and they're very well written. But a lot of people just thought of it like, well, why don't you just pick up like a regular traditional book? Like, why do you feel like you need to read fan fiction? But now fan fiction itself has now became very popular, right? Like, I feel like also I come across so many more people that have read fan fiction or currently read fan fiction, or many people are not afraid to voice that they're reading fan fiction. I remember before it was like, not, I wouldn't say taboo, but it was just kind of like you didn't voice you were reading fan fiction. You kind of hid it a little bit more. And when someone asked again, all you said was, I'm just reading a book on my phone. That's literally all you ever said. But now people will outwardly say, oh yeah, I'm reading fan fiction. And it's not frowned upon. People don't look at you weird. People don't look at you crazy. It is just so interesting for me to see things like that now happening, right? We're seeing a lot more fan fiction becoming more traditionally published novels also. You know, that's a whole different topic, which I've discussed before. Let me know if you guys want me to talk about that again, because I know that conversation has kind of rose back up again due to the book Alchemized now being traditionally published, and it used to be, you know, manacled for Harry Potter fan fiction. But, you know, just seeing those things change over the years has been fascinating for me, right? And then of course you have K-pop, which I'm also into. I like BTS. They're the only group I stan. I do listen to other groups every now and then, but if there's a song that catches my ear, but I'm not like outwardly standing other groups. BTS is the only group I stan currently, and I think they're the only group I'm probably going to stan. But just even with K-pop, like I remember when K-pop years ago, before I even got into BTS, I was listening to some other K-pop groups, not standing them, not learning their names. I just liked the music. And I just remember realizing that a lot of people didn't listen to K-pop. Very few people I knew listened to K-pop, right? And now it's like K-pop is everywhere. And that's a whole different conversation too, because I know some people are going to have different opinions on like who paved the way for K-pop. I feel like it was BTS, but I know others are going to feel differently, but I have my own reasons on why I believe it was BTS. But seeing now K-pop itself become more widely known, more, I wouldn't say respected, but a lot more people giving it a chance, you know, wanting to listen to it, wanting to learn names of groups, wanting to learn names of members in groups, actually like going beyond the barrier of language of that this is in Korean, and just listening to the music or looking up the lyrics and just enjoying the dance moves and the concepts and the clothes that they wear. Seeing K-pop idols going to fashion week, seeing K-pop idols go on like American talk shows, go on American award shows, like it's just wild and crazy to me to see how this has all changed. This landscape entirely has changed. Now, are there some things that maybe still need some changes to happen? Sure. I think the biggest one for me is manga and manhwa. Like one of the, maybe not so much manhwa or webtoons, because since that's mostly online, but when it comes to traditionally published manga, yes, I've seen the shelves grow at like my local Barnes and Noble, but I also have had the struggle of like, you know, a series that I really like being very difficult to find, or it takes a long time for the volumes to come out. It's not as readily like available as soon as like anime has become, right? So just seeing all these things change over the years has been just interesting to me, because as someone who's older and has known when these things were so very niche and that you were kind of secretive about whether or not you liked it because of the stigma that society had with it, now seeing it so welcome in society has been like a total 180 for me. And I know that maybe some people who are younger will question why people who are older will say things like, oh, some of these fans feel like they're entitled, or they use terms like that. And the main reason why, myself included, I have used these terms is because we know what the struggle was like when we couldn't have all these things readily available. We knew what it was like to be picked on, or having to explain to our parents what these things were, and getting very strange looks. And if we weren't being picked on by friends, we were being picked on or questioned by family members. So whenever we hear someone who is younger than us criticize a hobby that we really like, or feel like they're, lack of a better word, entitled to certain things, we get upset or we get mad, because we're like, you're upset because of this, that, and another regarding Crunchyroll, and like how subtitles didn't pop up right away, or, you know, they're having you pay for something like this. And like for me especially, I look at it and I go, I remember when I had to pirate all of this stuff. Like, I remember when I, you know, had to watch this on YouTube with fan subs because the subs just weren't around. Like, I remember when, you know, we had to wait, you know, 2-3 years for a dub to come out for a show because dubbing took a really long time. So it's like, to hear someone complain about something that we have seen change over the years and get better, we start to have that inclination of like, dang, you sound entitled. Like, that's where it comes from. But I am interested to know, how do you guys feel about all these changes that have happened over the years with all these different, you know, hobbies and things like that over the years? I know I mentioned gaming, or I don't know if I mentioned gaming, but gaming is another one where we've seen it change. And maybe not so much how games are readily available, but we've seen how gaming has become more widely accepted as becoming a like long-term career. Like, when I was a kid, there's no way I could like have thought that when I got older, gaming would become a like career. Like, someone who just streams themselves playing games would become a thing, that there would be esports and stuff like that. Like, that just was not, like, it might have been around, but it wasn't as like readily in your face and as highly accessible as it is now. So yeah, again, how do you guys feel about these hobbies that have changed over the years, that have become more widely accepted? You know, one that I just now thought of was Dungeons and Dragons, right? We have Critical Role, where the voice actors were playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know, through Twitch, and it got popular, and now Prime Video has an entire, you know, animated series of their adventures, and it's just like, wow, just to see these things change and grow over the years. And I know some people dislike it, like some people really want something to stay niche, which my question is why. I guess maybe it's to be like, oh, I'm into this thing that other people don't know about. It's the secretive part. Maybe it makes you feel cool. I don't know, but I know for me, I've enjoyed seeing these things become mainstream. Not all the time, but I do like some of the benefits of it, you know, not having to explain to people, you know, not feeling like someone's gonna judge me or make fun of me if I like it. Or on top of that, you know, also just being able to experience things the same way that other people have, like having an anime movie come in theaters and it not be like this once in a lifetime thing that ever happens, right? So yeah, what do you guys think about how hobbies and like, I'll say nerdy hobbies have changed over the years? How do you guys feel about it? Again, I feel good about it. I feel okay about it. But I do get a little bit salty when I see sometimes newer people within these hobbies, you know, criticize certain things or get upset about certain things that I know I had to struggle with years ago, and that now I look at this as like a luxury. So yeah. What do you guys think? I would love to know your comments below. I just thought this would just be a really fun or interesting topic to talk about, because I don't know. It's just looking back on all the the hobbies that I have and how they've changed has become, it's very nostalgic for me. So yeah, what do you guys think? Comment below your thoughts. I will be interested to know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And like I have links to my social media accounts. They'll be linked down below. Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok. Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok. I think that's it. Instagram. That's the other one. I forget all my social media stuff. You can find me on there. Feel free to follow if you like. And like I tell you guys all the time, stay positive, stay nerdy in today's day and age. Stay healthy. And of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys. Bye.